Hello, this is my third VGSF video. In this I will start to cover the A format mass market paperbacks. I'll be covering 37 in this video, starting with Brian Aldiss and running through to the VGSFs by CJ Cherry. So I'll go straight in. The first one, a Brian Aldiss book. This is Man in His Time, Best SF Stories of Brian Aldiss. I got this one signed, as you may have seen, when Brian was doing a signing for Finches of Mars, which I think was his last signing. I will not be removing plastic bags from the books, and plastic bags do tend to hide faults. So for example, this one, although it looks lovely, there is a long crease all the way down there. I just thought I'd mention it. My set isn't perfect. There are ones that could do with improvement. The other Brian Aldiss in the set was this one, A Romance of the Equator, his best fantasy novels. This one I've got a review slip. Again, this one I got signed at the same event, and this one is in perfect condition. Next I'll go on to Isaac Asimov. This is Robot Dreams, which is the first of his two robot books in VGSF. This one was actually went to, I think, 3 reprints or 4 reprints. I have a reprint here and I'll just show you how it appears inside. I hope you can see that. So the first edition that is referred to was the larger format, probably, I can't remember whether that was B or C. And then a new edition, which was the one I just showed you, and then this is the second printing. That is the way they tend to show reprints. I think the total was, that I'm aware of, there are 45 reprints of VGSF books. 16 titles had 45 additional printings. The other Asimov was this one, Robot Visions, and I'm sorry if there's some reflection off the wrapping. Now, oddly enough, this one wasn't reprinted as a VGSF, so I was rather puzzled as to why there would be 4 printings or 5 printings of Robot Dreams and only 1 of Robot Visions. So I did a little bit of research, and that does seem to be correct. And the next printings were in 1997 as Vista paperbacks. Now, I've mentioned Vista before as being the follow-on to VGSF paperbacks. So that is more evidence about VGSF paperbacks. I'm not going to do that for any other books in the series. I'm not going to research whether they were subsequently published as VGSF. Obviously, if someone wanted to, they could do that. Finally, the last Asimov book, By Jupiter. After that, we go on to Greg Bear. Now I'm going to show you, this is the first printing. Sorry, the first mass market printing. And if you're wondering what that is, that's a signature by David or a little inscription by David Brin, which he did on the cover. So, now, a number of VGSF paperbacks had a second edition, and this is the second edition. As you can see, it's used basically the same artwork. I'm sorry about the reflections. And there were a few of the VGSFs that had a second edition. But what I mean by a second edition, it had a different ISBN number. Carrying on, another Greg Bear, Hegira. Another one, Tangents. And this had several reprints. Beyond Heaven's River. One more title, Cyclone. Cyclone had a new edition, and this is one of the worst condition-wise of my books, Cyclone. So you can see a totally different artwork for this one. Just to show you, I've got a strong spine lean and creasing. Otherwise the book isn't that bad, but with that I don't think it's a very good book condition wise. I have looked out for a better copy, and I occasionally see a slightly better one on eBay, but I've struggled to find a perfect copy, and I don't want to upgrade in stages. So that covers the Greg Bear novels, and I'll carry on. Go on to Gregory Benford. Next one is this one in Alien Flesh. Next, Great Sky River. And this one, Great Sky River, had a second edition. I will show you the fact that the artwork is different. Next one, Gregory Benford, Tides of Light. And another second edition. Again, I will show you the two side by side. So different artwork again. Another Gregory Benford, Furious Gulf. And then we go on to John Brosnan books. Yeah, this is the first one in the trilogy, the Sky Lords. Again, you'll see it's got a logo on the front cover. As I've said previously, there is a logo on some, but not on all. Again, this is not greatest copy. It's got a bit of spine lean. Could do with an upgrade. The second volume in the trilogy, War of the Sky Lords. I've never read this trilogy, so I can't say much about it. And that is the second book in the trilogy. The third one, The Fall of the Sky Lords. And one last, John Brosnan, The Apopanax Invasion. Carrying on, there is quite a run of Octavia Butler books. This one is Dawn. This is Exogenesis 1. And you'll notice in this book, on the front cover, the VGS logo is at the top right. As far as I think the logos have occurred in all four corners of the front cover. Not all have a logo, but some do. The colour scheme is slightly different when it's inverted to go at the top of the page. I think I've got it. Sorry, I'm just trying to show you all the Exogenesis ones. This is Exogenesis 2, Adulthood Rights. Again, I've got a review slip. And finally, the third one in the Exogenesis trilogy, Imago. Again, with a review slip. So now I'll go back to the other Octavia Butlers. Mind of My Mind. And what I would say is Octavia Butler is quite collectible, so some of these can be expensive and quite difficult to find. This one is Wild Seed. Finally, Clay's Ark. So there are 6 Octavia Butlers in the VGSF series. Carrying on, Mind Players by Pat Cadigan. This one has been inscribed. Again, notice it's got the logo at the top left of the front cover. And can I just say, this book is generally reckoned to be, or the title is reckoned to be one word, Mind Players, not as it appears on the front cover as 2 separate words. Going on, we get David Callanan, Fortress Manhattan. Now what I would mention, this was, I think, one of, or possibly the last VGSF that was printed. What I will show you is, comparing with the next book that I'm going to show you, the logo is different. On Callanan, the black and yellow are reversed. I think I may have said it was the black and red in my first video. I got that wrong. The black and the yellow are reversed. So maybe because it was certainly produced in the last month that VGSF will produce, so maybe because it was the very last one, someone decided to make a change. I'll now go on to the CJ Cherries. Wave Without a Shore. I was lucky a few years ago, I bought several review copies from a dealer. So those generally are in very nice condition, but some of the others I've struggled to get books in perfect condition. Hestia. One that is rather difficult to find, Eeldwood. Spine is slightly faded and has some light spine creases. But I consider myself lucky to have this because I've seen very few copies of this title. It's an omnibus of two fantasies, The Dreamstone and its companion novel, The Tree of Swords and Jewels. So it's an omnibus of two separate stories and is difficult to find. The next one, Port Eternity. Angel with the Sword. And finally, for this video, The Tree of Swords and Jewels. I hope you've enjoyed seeing those books. As I say, not that many authors in that section, but generally I think the VGSFs, like many series, have some good books and perhaps some not as good, but I think they are worth collecting. In my next video I will do from Arthur C. Clarke on to whatever the next section will finish on. Paul Cooper signing off.